Alright, what's up with the YouTube fam, man? I'm back again with another video. So listen, man, due to the context of this content, I'm not able to show y'all what actually took place, but I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all already know what's going on or already done seen the video. And if you haven't, you know, you'll be able to find it online and things like that. But yeah, YouTube won't let me show that on my channel. Yes, on other channels you probably can see it, but over here they won't let me show it to y'all. So it is what it is. But yeah, the details that I'm about to give y'all are basically tell y'all what took place. So basically, long story short, it was a situation where a couple was inside of Applebee's. You know, it was a man, his girl, and their newborn baby, right? And ultimately, you know, it was a hit and run situation that took place. And when the situation took place, two men ran in there. The people who actually did this, they ran inside of the Applebee's and went into the bathroom. The police came in looking for them. They also got like a call saying that there was some people in there acting suspicious. So they went in there, they seen the couple, and they got the wrong people. Now, when I tell you the way that they treated this man was so belittling, it was horrific, it was disgusting, despicable, and everything else that you can put into words when it comes to somebody doing something that they shouldn't be doing. Man, they did this man so wrong. And he had his child, and a lot of people was criticizing him for not allowing the child to be, you know, released at the time. But you got to realize, man, he's in shock. He don't even know what the hell is going on. People coming up to him, he like, what the hell? And he got his child, so he don't know if they're trying to take the child. It's so crazy in this world, you just never know. I'm not finna sit here and down a man for being a man, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, doing what he thought was right at the time, you know, going off of his natural instinct. But, you know, another thing that took place was the manager, she got fired for recording the video and releasing it to the public and letting everybody see it, which I feel like that's very wrong. She got a wrongful termination and they should be sued. You know, Applebee's already trashed and they got the nerve to be doing what they doing to this lady for actually trying to spread the word about how they treated him. Now, I am going to play some of the audio within the video here and there, but I can't show y'all what took place. But me just telling y'all that, man, should let y'all know what the hell is going on with the situation. They beat the man. They did everything that they could to him. And the way he looked, it just messed me up real bad. You know, he was just out of it. But they are suing. The lady who got fired is suing. And I feel like that is the right thing to do. I got all the updates on here, so we're gonna go ahead and watch all the updates. And I got a press conference as well. Shout out to the people who out there being activists for situations like this. I appreciate y'all for that real talk. But they still ended up charging these individuals. That's crazy. They charged the wrong people. They found the wrong people, assaulted the wrong people, and still charged them. They charged them with resisting arrest. Boy, when I tell you the system is corrupt, it's corrupt. But that's enough of all of that. I'm gonna go ahead and give y'all these updates. And yeah, man, I want to know your thoughts and opinions. And hit the like button if you've been rocking with me, man. When y'all come in the door, hit the like button. Let's get into it.
Kenosha police say it started with a hit-and-run crash July 20th. Police say they had a description of two black men and a black woman carrying a child seen running from the scene towards an Applebee's restaurant. Inside the restaurant, police say they were alerted by an employee to, quote, some suspicious people. Those people, a couple eating dinner with their baby who had nothing to do with the hit and run.
So they came in and they went to the table and they asked them just to tell
That's the manager.
Show them what car they came in, you know, so that they could verify if that was them in the car accident or not.
Jennifer Harris, who's working at the Applebee's, describes the chaotic events unfolded next.
And he tried to go the other way and they eventually tackled him into a wall and the baby hit his head on the wall.
Captured on camera by Applebee's employees.
Get the baby!
Please stop! Stop squeezing you!
I'm gonna go get you in!
Hey, please stop!
Hear the baby, man.
Your baby head, be careful. Baby head, please stop.
Police seen on the video trying to restrain the man.
Hey, stop! Hey!
Now, I do want to say this right here. With that being said, if you actually see somebody with their child, why wouldn't you try to get the person who has the child to sit there and understand and actually explain something in detail with them so they can actually, you know, get a grip of what's happening? Right now, they just confused. So yes, they're gonna be acting crazy, especially if they really genuinely didn't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? They see it's a child there. Why wouldn't you stop? Why wouldn't you restrain yourself? You talking about him resisting arrest? Restrain your damn self. Let's get back into it though.
They had at least 4 cops on his back with at least a cop or two each grabbing an arm, and still had one cop punching him over and over again in his face. It was just sad. I just felt bad for the baby.
The second day he said that he wanted to enjoy his food, and for them to go away, they should have left him alone.
Kenosha police telling 12 News officers found the people responsible for the hit and run inside the Applebee's bathroom. Wednesday afternoon, activists called for an investigation into the officers' actions.
Why was the cop so fearful that he felt that level of force was needed with a baby in his arms?
Damn thug.
Caroline joins us now live tonight from Kenosha. Caroline, you've also learned the manager in this case was fired from the Applebee's?
That's sad, bro.
Right, she says she's now being blamed for the videos from this incident circulating online as well as on television now, and she says she was let go from her position after working at this Applebee's behind me for 12 years, and she has now hired an attorney to help her get her job back, Joyce.
This video is getting a lot of views. Caroline Reinwald leading us off tonight.
This video, taken July 20th, now viral, showing a man restrained and punched repeatedly by Kenosha police officers.
That's pitiful, man.
This happened at the Applebee's on 75th Street. Officers thought he and his girlfriend were involved in a hit and run just down the road. In the complaint, witnesses at the crash scene described the suspect as a black man and black woman with a baby. They say the woman was wearing a red shirt and had run towards the Kohl's or Menards. According to the complaint, that's when staff at the Applebee's called into dispatch about, quote, a group of individuals matching that description had come into the restaurant and appeared nervous. When officers arrived, they acknowledged the woman they had been directed to was wearing a white shirt, but they approached her anyway. The complaint says the man wouldn't answer officers' questions and tried to leave. That's when a struggle ensued.
Hey, stop! Hey!
That ended with the man on the floor in handcuffs. You can see an officer punching him repeatedly. Officers say that was to, quote, ensure compliance.
Hi, I'm Syria with Channel 12.
12 News did try to reach the man and woman arrested. Family told us they've hired an attorney and do not want to go on camera. Community activists are pushing for accountability from police.
We want to see justice for him and his family, and we're going to do all we can in our power to make sure that happens.
They said they were doing it to ensure compliance. So you gonna beat him? You don't think that he's fully capable of understanding what the hell he needs to do if he's actually explained to in detail about what's happening? You know what I'm saying? And everything could have been avoided, but the way that he was punching them repeatedly, he needs to be, you know, held accountable. He needs to go to jail. That thug, that gangster, that gang banging ass dude need to be in jail. And everything I am saying in this video from beginning to the end is all allegedly, but y'all know what the hell I'm talking about, and y'all know what I'm saying is, you know, y'all know. But yeah, his gang banging ass need to be in jail, man. That's so sad that he did that, man, like that in front of his newborn baby. The baby just got here, and he's already being displayed to all this negativity, this evilness, this all this, just, man, it's just so much so fast, you know. Damn, let's get back into it.
Man and woman face misdemeanor charges of resisting an officer and disorderly conduct. In Kenosha, Syria Sandlin, WISN 12 News.
They really out of line, man.
Well, tonight we are hearing from the former manager at the Kenosha Applebee's who lost her job after police arrested a family they wrongfully believed was involved in a hit and run in July. Kenosha police tell us the incident is under investigation. Meanwhile, that former Applebee's manager tells CBS 58's Ellie Nakamoto-White the termination happened because a cell phone recording of the incident got posted online.
Jennifer Harris has given more than a decade of her life to Applebee's, starting as a server and working her way up to manager. But now she says that's all gone after she believes she was fired for trying to help and do the right thing.
I thought it was going to be a normal day.
A 10-hour shift ending in chaos. Kenosha police charging inside this Applebee's for reports of hit-and-run suspects. Officials arresting Jermelle English Jr. and Shania Boyd while the real suspects were hiding inside the bathroom.
One employee was trying to get the cops to stop punching him. He was like, hey, you're stop. Like, he's on the ground, stop, you know? And they pushed my employee and said, one more word out of you and you're arrested.
This cell phone video was not taken by Harris, but it is the reason she lost her job.
They told me they can't trust me and that I didn't just ruin this Applebee's name. I ruined all of the Applebee's in Wisconsin's name by letting these videos get out.
12 years of dedicated service ended by an altercation Harris says shouldn't have happened.
I'm not the one that came in there and beat up innocent people, so why am I the one that ruined Applebee's?
In a statement to CBS 58, Applebee's officials say the safety and well-being of our guests and team members is a top priority.
They had the opportunity to do the right thing also and support this family, and they chose to support the other side and care about how they look in the situation.
Still in shock and forced to find a new job, Harris says she won't return.
I know how passionate I am when it comes to my work ethic and how much heart I put into my work. They don't deserve it at this point.
The couple has their final pretrial conferences at 10 a.m. on August 25th at the Kenosha County Courthouse. In Kenosha, Ellie Nakamoto White, CBS 58 News.
Okay, thank you everyone for...
Okay, so with y'all seeing everything that took place, I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all watch this press conference in totality. It ain't nothing for me to say during this, but I will holler at y'all at the end of this video. I do want to say that I hope that this family get justice that they deserve. And yeah, man, you know, it's just sad how they treat people no matter what condition they are in at the time. They can be hurting, they can have a child with them, you know, they can be disabled, they can have mental issues, all of the above, and they will still do whatever the hell they want to do based off their emotions. We need logical people that's going to be over these people. You know what I'm saying? And when I mean by these people, I'm talking about all of us here. You know, we got to have logical and rational people. But yeah, man, I'm going to let y'all watch this and I'll holler at y'all later. All right.
I am Tanya McLean, the Executive Director of Leaders of Kenosha. We also have Coalition for Dismantling Racism. We have KUSH. And we have NAACP, Urban League here represented, and community members. So we're meeting today because we've all watched the video that is circulating about a young African-American male who was assaulted by a police officer at Applebee's in Kenosha. So we want to talk a little bit about you know, what we witnessed and what our thoughts are about it as community leaders and what we're planning on doing moving forward. So the first question that needs to be asked is Kenosha safe? You know, we want to open up dialogue with the community around that question because everything is so polarized in this community and in this country right now. And it's just imperative that we have genuine, authentic, open conversations. And our first question that we want to ask everyone, are you safe in the city of Kenosha? Are you safe in the county? Are you safe driving? Are you safe just moving around as a person of color in this community? And if you're not feeling safe, why not? And what would you like to see happen in order to feel safe? What will give you that level of comfortability? You know, we really are disheartened by how, you know, the police officers chose to go to that family, and where there was just lack of de-escalation. You know, everything happened so quickly. It elevated so quickly. It just didn't seem that anyone was a voice of reason that had a uniform on. The only person that seemed to have a voice of reason, sorry guys, was the Applebee's employees, you know, trying to get the baby. But the police officers, it just does not appear that they were using good judgment, and that's just not okay. We want to know why police officers are not being respectful to community members here in this city. What is it that makes you feel as if you need to be so overly aggressive, so confrontational, just like you're ready for a fight, like you're ready to see bad things happen? Just the complete lack of disregard for people that do not look like you, that don't have that uniform on. What is it that just frightens you? Because we know that when people are fearful, they act in irrational ways. So what is it that you're so afraid of? When you see me, when you see another person of color, What is it that's rattling you so bad that you feel like you have to escalate something to that level? You know, almost 3 years ago to this month, we had a young man shot in the back 7 times by Officer Rustin Shesky, who was still employed by this police force. He shot Jacob in the back 7 times in front of his children. And now we have another situation where a young man was assaulted with his baby in his arms and harm was brought to the baby. That is unacceptable. And again, what is it that you're so fearful of that you have to use that level of force against a young man, a baby, and his wife? It's just not acceptable. We believe everyone in this community should be treated with respect, dignity, compassion, and empathy, regardless of your skin color, regardless of your socioeconomic status, regardless of who you love, regardless of where you live, whatever your affiliation, your political affiliation. Everyone has a right to be safe, to make it home to their families without harm. Everyone has the right to thrive in this community in a way that they see fit. And again, my 2 questions are we safe in this community? And what is it about people that do not look like you or do not believe as you believe that makes you so afraid that you have to escalate the situation where there's continued police brutality and just a lack of regard for another human being? So I'm going to turn it over to Pastor Monica.
Thank you, Tanya. That was pretty intense. I invite you to take a breath. Take a moment and breathe with me. Let us breathe together and share in something we all have in common: the need to breathe. We are people of different faiths and no faith. Let us share in a moment of silence and hold in love the family whose treatment by some members of KPD brings us here together today. Let's share a moment of silence for that family. Blessed be. I am the Reverend Dr. Monica L. Cummings, Vice President for Congregations United to Serve Humanity, also known as CUSH. I am also the Assistant Minister at Bradford Community Church, Unitarian Universalist. Like the other local leaders and concerned citizens gathered here, when I first heard about and watched the video of what happened at Applebee's, I was at first angry, then heartbroken. Heartbroken that an innocent black man experienced the trauma of being forced to the ground by police for no reason while eating with his family. Heartbroken that a black baby now has to live with the trauma of experiencing and witnessing her father being yelled at and her little black body being yanked at by police. Heartbroken that a mother had to experience the trauma of standing by helpless while her partner and baby were being traumatized, and hearing her baby cry and powerless to do anything about it. Most of us want the same thing: safe streets and safe neighborhoods. Most of us want to trust the police, who are sworn to protect and serve, and most of us want the police to trust us. I don't think it's too much to ask the police to be guardians to the communities they are sworn to protect and serve, and not military-minded warriors who behave like an occupying force and treat certain citizens like enemy combatants. We all want to have an encounter with the police where they help to de-escalate the situation instead of tapping into and triggering trauma, both theirs and the citizens they engage with. Most of us are traumatized, including the police. The Religious Leaders Caucus of Kush, back in 2020, the summer of 2020, after Jacob was shot and before Jacob was shot, offered to help the mayor and KPD leaders work on police and community relations. Some of us served, including myself, on the mayor's subcommittee on police policy and procedure. And we worked directly with the former chief of police, Chief Larson. We once again offer our support and are willing to serve our community by working with law enforcement to improve the police and community relationships here in the city we all love, Kenosha. Because if we keep doing what we are doing, we will keep getting what we got. The status quo is not working for anyone. So let's work together for change, transformation, and the beloved community most of us want.
Thank you. And now I'm going to bring up Alex Whitaker, the Coalition for Dismantling Racism.
Hello. My name is Alex Whitaker, and I serve as the Vice President of the Kenosha Coalition for Dismantling Racism. A video was released on social media last week showing the arrest of a man at a local restaurant. The brutality appearing within that video is unacceptable. The Coalition for Dismantling Racism calls on the Kenosha Police Department to initiate a thorough and transparent investigation into the details of that arrest. We also request a third-party report as to whether use of force training protocols were followed by the arresting officers that night. The coalition, being comprised of a diverse group of Kenosha City and County residents, and having been in courageous conversation with police officers and those they are sworn to serve in the past, we also call for a third-party assessment of the current culture within the Kenosha Police Department. Recent and not so recent interactions between officers and the community reveal the possibility of a culture of us versus them that has arisen and possibly impacts the interactions of officers and those they are there to serve, especially as it relates to historically marginalized groups. The purpose of our calls is reform, and the hope of our calls is a safer future for officers and residents alike. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. And now I'll bring up Kyle Johnson.
Thank you, Tanya, for organizing this. Thank you for everybody that showed up to be here. It's great to see the community support for us calling for justice. I'm glad to be up here with a lot of great community partners. But we're gathered here today because there's senseless violence happening against Kenoshans, and the violence is being perpetrated by the Kenosha Police Department. We all, as Tanya said, we all deserve to be respected and treated with dignity by our government officials. And most people's interactions with government officials is with police officers. Folks don't really encounter their mayor, their alderperson every day. So when they are interacting with government, it is usually law enforcement. And how they are interacting with law enforcement matters. If we are asking people to believe in democracy and believe in this union and believe in the American dream, then government needs to serve them and needs to treat them with dignity and treat them with respect. And that's not too much to ask. And so we're standing here today making that demand once again. But we have elected officials in power and appointed bureaucrats that want us to believe that the loss of our civil liberties and our constitutional rights is just the cost of doing business. but we know we can't allow that. We stand here today, just as we have the past 3 years, to maintain there are better ways for the Kenosha Police Department to interact and protect the community. These videos that have circulated from Applebee's, from folks at Tacos to Go, from other arrests that have happened in the community, have only shown that there's a troubling pattern of profiling, harassment, and assault by government officials, which is unacceptable. Like Tanya said, we have to ask, is Kenosha safe? We want to open that dialogue. Many people do not feel safe in their community. I am one of them. That reflects failure at many levels, and failure demands accountability. City elected leadership continues to push for new projects and new neighborhoods when the priorities that should be set is, are people's basic human rights being met? Do people have food on their table? Do people have access to housing? Do people feel safe and respected when they interact with government officials? And that is not happening. So once again, I want to thank the community members for showing up. They came out to join us. The fight to protect our constitutional rights is easy to lose if we cede the power. That is why we will continue to inform, build community engagement, and advocate for a Kenosha where no matter how much money you make, title you hold, God or gods you pray to, or color of your skin, your rights will be respected by law enforcement. Thank you.
So some call to actions we'd like to ask from the community members. We'd like you to please call your elected officials. It's important that they hear from you. Oftentimes you hear people say, oh, well, they don't listen to us, they don't. But when you talk to elected officials, they will tell you. When you text, or I'm sorry, when you call, when you write letters, they are listening. That pressure means something. So I know people, it's been a tough past 3 years in this community, and people are tired and weary, and we've called a lot, we've wrote tons of letters, we've begged, we've pleaded with public officials with regards to the quality of life in this town for certain individuals. But we need people to understand that without your continued support, without you reaching out to the people that are in office and that you put in office, this work will just fall on deaf ears. It's important that you are mindful and conscious of who you're checking your box for at the ballot box, because these are people that are going to make the decisions over the police force, over this city that we live in, over the county. And if we don't have the people in office that are mindful of all, this type of situation will continue to happen and only escalate. And then frustrations build and things build up, and then things explode, and we never ever ever want to see what happened in 20 happen here again in our home. It was terrible. It just was not a good place for any of us to be in. So we want to do what we can with the help of the community to move this work forward, to work for everyone. This work is not, it's romanticized often, and people think that, this is, it just feels good. Actually, it doesn't, right? Because we don't want to stand here and have these conversations about people being harmed when they're simply having a meal with their family with no, it just happened, right? You were just sitting there, and then we all saw what happened. So we just want to continue moving forward, and we're going to keep asking the question, are you safe? And we're going to build on that, and we're going to want to meet with the community. We want to hear from you. We want you to be a part of this process. It's important that you are. What we do is for our community. It's not just for us personally, it's for everyone. For my grandsons, for your children, and our generations to come. This work has, we've seen what has happened, civil rights movement, and they accomplished a lot, but they kept at it. They did not let up. And people get wary, and you let up, and you just, it loses steam. But with the help of the community, we can have the change and be the change that we seek and want to see for everyone. And I want to believe that our city administration wants to do the right thing. I want to believe that. I want to believe, as Dr. Cummings said, that we're a partner with them, that they want to work with us to resolve issues and questions that the community has. They work for us. They are our government elected officials, and we need to hold them accountable. And, you know, I get flack because, you know, I hold things like this. I ask questions. I want to know what's happening. So it's frowned upon. But then you have to ask the question, if you're upset with me just simply exercising my right to know what's going on, then maybe you need to do some real internal looking and deep looking at yourself. Why does this bother you so much? Why do you feel so fearful of people asking questions about what's going on in our community? We have the right to know, and we want to know, and we demand to know, and we will know. So we're all working tirelessly on solutions, and when we start coming up with them, we're definitely going to roll them out to the community. We want to convene the community, so that will be happening soon, so that we can hear from you what you think should be done, what you'd like to see in order to feel safe. Because again, we're going to keep asking, why are you so fearful? And what is it that makes you feel fearful when you see me? And are we safe? So I'd like to open up for questions if anybody has any for anyone up here. Yes.
So you say right to people. Who in particular? The mayor of Kenosha, the police?
Everyone.
The sheriff? I mean, give me some ideas in terms of who I could reach out to.
Oh, well, okay. Definitely the mayor, your alderperson, the governor, your state elected people, definitely the sheriff, anyone that is a public elected official in this community and represents Kenosha in the state of Wisconsin, we're asking you to reach out to them. Thank you. That was a great question.
One more question.
Yes.
Do the Kenosha police have to wear cameras? Do we have that law?
Yes. Body cams?
So
Yes.
they do wear body cams
Yes.
now?
Yes.
Were those on at the time that this happened?
They were, and they're under review.
Okay.
Yes.
Tanya, what can you tell me about the guy who wound up on the floor at Applebee? I understand you've been in contact with him.
You know, he's a young African-American male. You know, he was just there with his family having a meal. Got up to go change his baby. Not that he was trying to get away from the cops, you know, because we've heard that. That's not what was happening. And that's really all I can say. But yeah, he's a young African-American male, and, you know, he's traumatized.
Is he from Kenosha?
No.
Can you say where he's from?
He lives in Illinois. Yes.
What would your message be to him publicly that you can share today?
That we support him and his family, that we stand with them, that we want to see justice for him and his family, and we're going to do all we can in our power to make sure that happens. Anyone else? Yes. Hi, Mr. Bell.
I'd like to.
This is Michael Bell, Sr.
Hello, everyone. Michael Bell, Lieutenant Colonel, retired United States Air Force. 19 years ago, I had a son that was bent over a car. A police officer put a gun to his head and killed him in front of his mother and sister. The city has refused to release a bullet in that matter, and we want to investigate that shooting further. What does that have to do with this moment now? What has to do with this moment now is Mayor John Antaramian, former Chief of Police John Morrissey, and DA Michael Gravely are the ones that are in control of this episode. How come Mayor John Antaramian's not here saying, we're sorry that somebody was wrongfully accused in an Applebee's and was beaten? He's not here. He doesn't care. And DA Gravely, he has allowed police officers to be unaccountable for the last 19 years. And so if you really want to find out what's going on, say their name. Make sure that they get out of office and make sure that they bring somebody in that actually relates to the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. Yes.
We're just write letters and go to events and make their voices heard. Do you have confidence in the leadership of the city and the police department at this point?
No, I don't.
Why not?
As Mr. Bell said, you know, Gravely's been around a long time, and you know, Officer Shesky not being charged and fired just will never sit right with me. We all witnessed what happened to Jacob. He was shot 7 times in the back. I mean, he was not armed. That level of force was absolutely not necessary, and all of this happened in front of his children, other children that were outside, and Gravely did not charge. So I absolutely do not have any faith in Michael Gravely.
The current police chief and the mayor?
Yeah, you know.
We've been at this, having meetings after meeting after meeting after phone call after meeting with the mayor, with the former police chief, with the current police chief, you name it. We've talked to them, and it's only gotten worse since 2020. So no, there's no faith in the people who are currently there.
They're not here. Fire the KPD.
And
Fire
the system is broken. One of the things that we learned, and Tanya served on the subcommittee for police policy and procedure, is that all this is baked into police policy and procedure. In Jacob's case, I was in the military. I was taught to shoot center mass. And that's how police are taught. They're not taught to shoot someone in the leg or the arm, or, you know, they're taught to shoot center mass is what they do. And they're taught to continue using enough force until the threat is no longer a threat. So the system is broken. The way police are trained is broken. And until that is changed, until they're taught better de-escalation skills, until they're taught that every situation doesn't require a hammer, that there are other tools in the toolbox that they could possibly use, we'll keep getting what we got.
Tanya, you mentioned that the man arrested was not resisting arrest. Can you explain that a little bit further?
Well, you know, the young man got up from the table to take his baby to the bathroom to change him because they were about to leave. And the last I checked, I mean, I'm not an attorney, but if you're not under arrest, you can walk away, right? They didn't know who these people were. So, as you saw from the video, the young man attempted to walk away, and then that's when he was, you know, savagely thrown to the ground with his baby. Just complete disregard for that baby. And, you know, just on a human level, like, I mean, the guy didn't have a gun or weapon or anything like that. But again, why was the cop so fearful that he felt that level of force was needed with a baby in his arms, and then he's still on the ground and they're punching him in his head? You know, his hands were behind his back and he's being beaten in his head. So he wasn't resisting at all. I mean, there was no level of resistance other than, I mean, in him getting up and walking away, that's not resisting. He wasn't under arrest. If a cop walks up on me now and starts talking to me and I walk away from him, I'm not resisting. I don't have to talk to the police. That's my right. So that's just what it is. And we all saw what happened. It is what it is. You know, it's nothing, you know, that's the thing about these videos. And even like with Jacob, like we all saw what happened. But, you know, they put this spin on it and they bring these experts in that are part of their culture, and then no one is held accountable. So, you know, I have children, I have grandchildren. If they continue to do this and do that, and there's just nothing is said and it goes unchecked, well, they're going to think it's okay and they're going to escalate. Like, there's just no accountability. Like, you get to do what you want. And like Dr. Cummings, I wore a uniform. I served in the Army. I could not just do what I wanted to do. There's rules of engagement, period. Even on a battlefield, I can't just go shoot someone because I'm afraid. Like, that's just not how it goes. So if I had to follow those rules, Dr. Cummings had to follow those rules, why doesn't a police officer? And again, it just goes back to being fearful. And I have said this time and time again, don't put the uniform on if you're going to be super afraid of everyone you encounter that doesn't look like you. Then what are you doing? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, you put on the uniform for a reason, you have a charge, an oath, and that's what you should be following. Nothing more, nothing less. Like, we're not trying to say that they don't have a tough job. Yeah, they do. You're dealing with people. Like, we deal with people. It's tough. But I can't just go because I feel a certain way or someone makes me feel a certain way. I don't get to do what I want to do, or I'll be in handcuffs down here. You just don't have the right to do that because you have that uniform on. Or just the way they talk to people, the aggression, just the rudeness, the disrespect. It's just not okay, and we're not taking it anymore. It's just enough already. I'm tired of getting calls and, constantly and videos of, cops just doing whatever they want to do, and it goes unchecked. So if it doesn't get checked, then we're just going to have these situations continue and escalate further and further and further, and more people are going to lose their lives at the hand of police officers.
Tanya, are
Yes.
you requesting that the body cameras be revealed?
Yes.
Has the family seen the body camera footage?
I don't believe the family has yet.
You want it released?
Yeah, absolutely. We want the body cam footage released. We want complete and 100% transparency from Kenosha Police Department, period. 100%. Nothing less than that.
And Pleasant Prairie.
And Pleasant Prairie, because they are involved as well.
Jacob Albright.
And Pleasant Prairie is involved with the Jacob Albright situation. Absolutely.
So what happens if you touched on this, but knowing from police that this young man...
Say that again, I didn't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. So I apologize if you touched on this, but knowing this young man is also facing charges of disorderly conduct and resisting, what are your thoughts on that?
That's absolutely ridiculous. How are you resisting when you got up to walk away and you were not under arrest? But here we go. This brings back to Gravely. Those charges can go away. Gravely has a position where he can just say, you know what, we're not doing this. We're not bringing these charges. This is ridiculous, and it's not okay. So, again, it's just right. It's intimidation. Just you're doing something because you think you can. And just because you think you can does not make it right, and it does not make it lawful. And what we saw was not lawful, and there should be no charges involved. The only people that should be getting charges are those officers. That's it. Yes.
Do you think we would know about this unless it was for a brave person that took a video?
No.
Do you think the city would have covered this up?
Yes, I don't think we would have heard about it at all.
Would there have been an internal investigation, you think, if this video wouldn't have been released?
I do know this. I can tell you this, that there was an investigation launched right away when July 21st, an investigation was launched. So that happened.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Hey, Tanya, back in 2015, I believe that's when President Obama was credited for implementing COPS, which is the oriented policing for law enforcement. That's at the federal level that President Obama implemented COPS after the shooting of Michael Brown and others throughout the country. At the state level, Assemblyman Robert Boss created the Task Force on Racial Disparities, which I happened to serve on that task force, and a number of recommendations were made with regards to racial disparity statewide in a number of different areas, not just law enforcement. At the local level, we have the Racial Equity and Equality Commission that our former county executive formed. So if we have things in place for governmental agencies to review, to take a look at why do we continue to have the serious problems that we have in Kenosha, and individuals challenging racism being a public health crisis here in Kenosha. That's a lot more.
Right. Well, that is a lot to unpack. But so, we in 20, not just in Kenosha, but around this country, we've seen, programs created, things created in namesake. Just in namesake. I was part of the work group that helped create the REC, and I know the time and passion we put into it and what we wanted for that. And we know that it's single-handedly being dismantled right now by the Kenosha County Board. So if you do something in just namesake, of course it's going to fall apart. There's no foundation, right? And the people that say they want to see these things and, okay, well, fine, we'll do this, we'll create this commission, we'll create this group, we'll do this. It's just a name, because clearly when it's time to put truth to power, it crumbles and we see what's happening. So one more question, then we're gonna end. Anybody else? Yes, Denise.
What do you recommend to anybody listening who feels they have been targeted and wrongly arrested by the Kenosha Police Department?
I strongly recommend that people start attending the Police and Fire Commission meetings, and if you feel that way, please file a report with them. I have the information that I can most certainly get to you, but you know, they're charged with keeping the police in check as well. That's one of their charges. So you can always file a complaint with them, and then it's reviewed, and then it goes through the process. But definitely, if anyone feels like they need to do that, reach out to me and I definitely can get that information to you. Okay. But, one last question. Anybody else? Yes.
Your contact information.
Mine? Okay. I'm Tanya, Tanya, McLean, McLean. My email is Tanya, Tanya, at leadersofkenosha.org. All right, and again, thank you everyone for coming out. We appreciate your time and your patience, and just, you know, do all you can. Keep calling, keep calling, keep calling. Keep fighting.
Okay, yeah, so y'all heard everything she said. She's for the people. I really liked it. I really commend people who do things like this, take the time out of their day, out of their life to go ahead and try to make sure that they can spread awareness and be there for the people. You know, it's a lot of people who be out here just bullshitting and playing with their time, but and I can't necessarily say just playing, you know, they might just not want to be into this field, but when you do things like this, I really commend it, you know. But overall, man, hey, I hope that they get justice. I'm sure that they will, and they need to be compensated, you know, very hefty. But overall, that's all I gotta say. I want to know what y'all feel about everything in the comment section, and yeah, man, hit that like button if you're rocking with me, and that's all I gotta say. I'll holler at y'all later.